All right, let's dive into a short but absolutely incredible miracle from the Gospel of Matthew. We're going to see how one encounter not only gave two men their sight back, but also answered a question that people had been asking for centuries.
So to really get this, we've got to rewind a bit. Hundreds of years before this story even happened, the prophet Isaiah wrote down some very specific signs of the coming Messiah. And this was huge. It created this very real, very specific expectation. When the Messiah shows up, he's going to make blind people see. And this wasn't just some poetic idea. It was a literal, tangible promise people were on the lookout for. So that really sets the stage for our first section here. For generations, the people of Israel were wrestling with this massive question. When the promised one finally arrives, how will we know it's him? I mean, really, how do you recognize the Messiah?
Well, you have to understand, these prophecies weren't just vague, fuzzy hopes. They were more like a divine checklist, a set of specific, observable signs that would prove who the Messiah was. People were actively, and you can bet eagerly, watching for these exact things to happen.
And what's so fascinating is how these signs all clump together in Isaiah's writings. They paint this picture of total and complete restoration. And right there at the top of the list was restoring sight to the blind. That was a key, non-negotiable marker. It was something that couldn't be faked, and everyone knew it was directly tied to the arrival of God's kingdom.
Okay, so let's jump into the story itself from Matthew chapter 9. We're introduced to two blind men. And here's the thing. They aren't just sitting around waiting. No, they are actively hunting for the answer to this massive prophetic question. The whole encounter unfolds in these 5 simple steps. They follow him, they shout after him, they even follow him right inside a house. This tells you this was not some casual meeting. Their persistence is off the charts, and it all builds to this crucial moment, their bold declaration and Jesus' direct response. This is the phrase they yell, and it gets right to the absolute heart of the matter. This wasn't just some random, "Hey, help us." They use a title that was absolutely loaded with meaning. It was a deliberate, powerful, and very public confession. So, what's the big deal about Son of David? Well, this was basically recognized shorthand for the promised Messiah, the heir to King David's throne. By using these exact words, these men were essentially pointing and shouting, "That's him, that's the one we've been waiting for, the one Isaiah prophesied about." Now, Jesus' reaction here is really interesting. You might think he'd focus on the messianic title, but he doesn't. Instead, he completely pivots and zooms in on one very specific thing, their faith.
He stops and asks them this one pivotal question. Notice what he doesn't ask. He doesn't ask if they want to see or even if they're sure he's the Messiah. He makes their belief in his ability the one and only prerequisite for the miracle. Everything, and I mean everything, hangs on their answer to this question.
And there it is, the core principle of this whole event. Their healing wasn't just an act of power or even just compassion. Jesus makes it crystal clear. The miracle is a direct response to their faith. It's almost as if their faith was the very ingredient that made the miracle possible. And this points to something so much deeper, doesn't it? Jesus is drawing this powerful, direct line between the ability to physically see and the act of spiritually believing. He's showing that true sight, seeing the world as it really is, actually starts with faith. Okay, let's bring it all home. In this final section, we're going to connect all these dots and see precisely how this one event served as the perfect fulfillment of that ancient prophecy we started with. And there you have it, the ultimate payoff. Just look at this side by side. The language is practically identical. The promise made in Isaiah hundreds of years earlier finds its perfect word-for-word fulfillment in this simple statement from Matthew. The prophecy was officially answered. This is why this healing was so much more than just a miracle. It's what the sources call a sign. You know, a sign always points to something beyond itself. Well, this event was a giant, flashing neon sign designed to authenticate Jesus' identity, to prove that he was exactly who he claimed to be. So, to wrap it all up, this one single act confirmed a bunch of massive ideas all at once. It proved he was the son of David, the Messiah. It showed he was fulfilling Isaiah's specific promises. It established faith as the key to restoration. And it was an announcement that the kingdom of God, that time of ultimate healing, was finally breaking into the world. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This story powerfully connects being able to see with an act of faith. So what might that mean for us? Today, what does it really take to see the world and our own lives clearly? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.